top 10 epic damage dealers in the game. Which epics hit the hardest? Let's find out. Hey there guys, it's Ryan Raids and welcome to the video. Guys, in today's video what we're going to be doing is we're going to be continuing on with our mini series top 10 damage dealers. So last time out we did a video on the top 10 damage dealers for rare champions. If you fancy checking it out, it'll pop up on screen somewhere. So yeah, go have a watch of that. It chucked out some interesting champions. So what we're going to do in this video, we're going to go with the top 10 hardest hitting epic champions in the game, and we're going off the Hell Hades ranking system over on the HH Gaming website. So I'll show you that in just a sec. So yeah, let's jump straight into it. So to grade these champions, what we've been doing, come over to the Raid Shadow Legends champion tier list, and then you can put all filters on. You can do like rare champions, damage dealers, revivers, whatever you want to look for, and it'll bring up the page like this. So we've got Seer, for example, her overall rating at the top, and then we come down to their skills. So what you do when you get down to the skills, you just hover over the skill like that. And what we did for the rares, we went early to mid game content, and I went through every single rare and then wrote down the top 10 hardest hitting rares per skill in the game. So we went early to mid game content for rares because that's mainly where you use a lot of the rares. So for epics, we're going to go late to end game content, and I've gone through every damage dealing epic and I've picked out the top 10 based on these rankings for late to end game content. I've also chucked a few honorable mentions at the end as well. So yeah, let's go see who's in the top 10. Right then, let's kick this off. Let's go find out who the top 10 hardest hitting epic champions are in the game. So first up, in 10th position, we have got a dwarf, and it is Gala Longbraids. And the skill what packs the punch is this A3. So she attacks one enemy 3 times. Each hit will ignore 25% of the target's defense. She then gets an extra turn if this champion has full HP after using this skill. So she could smack 4 times in one go. So yeah, she is at number 10. Oh, Gala Longbraids packs a little punch for the dwarf. Hold up there guys, click the link in the description right now to get the epic champion Uugo for free, as well as 2 more amazing free epics as you level up. Here are the exact steps you need to follow. Step 1, log out of Plarium Play on the PC and uninstall. Step 2, click the link in the description and register with a brand new email. Step 3, launch raid and complete the tutorial. Step 4, go to your inbox and claim your first champion. Here we go. You'll find Uugo here, as well as Tagoar and Rector Drath as you level out your account. If you've been watching the free-to-play series that I've been involved in, you'll know how good these epics really are. Then use the promo code Supreme6 to get yourself a crazy Void Legendary in Supreme Gaelic. So get yourself an amazing start in Raid Shadow Legends by clicking on the link and following the steps. So next up we have on the list, in 9th position, it is Seer. I've literally never pulled a Seer on any of my accounts. I've never had her, and she is a great champion for clearing waves. And it is the skill, this A3, Karma Burn, removes all buffs from all allies and enemies, then attacks all enemies. Damage increases according to the number of removed buffs. She then has a 50% chance of placing a sleep on all enemies for 1 turn. The chance of placing a sleep debuff increases by 5% for each buff removed. Damage based off enemy max HP. So yeah, she does pack a little clap on her A3 when she strips all those buffs off and deals AoE damage. So yeah, great skill for clearing waves. Absolutely annihilates waves, but I've never had her. Never had her in the game at all. Never pulled a single one, which is a shame really, which is a shame. So that skill ranks Seer as 128 in the game for damage dealing epics. So next up, in 8th position, we have got Sir Artimage in number 8, and it is the A3 ranked 80th of all damage dealing skills. This one here, attacks one enemy, will ignore 30% of the target's defense, places a 50% increased attack and 30% increased crit damage buff on this champion for 2 turns if this attack kills an enemy. These buffs cannot be removed. So yeah, this Bannerlord has the 8th hardest hitting skill, damage dealing skill in the game, and that is ranked number 80. Number 80. So hits fairly hard, even though it is what? Single damage hit. So hits pretty hard on a single target. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Looks pretty cool actually for a champion, doesn't it? Yeah, it does look pretty cool. Cool night vibe going on there. Yeah, not bad. Not bad indeed. So next up, we are off to the Knight Revenant, and it is Faceless. So Faceless comes in at number 7, and it is A3. It is the A3. Attacks one enemy will ignore shields and block damage buffs as well as defense. So does that ignore 100% defense? Man, that must slap. So yeah, it is only single target damage though, which is a shame. But yeah, that is number 7. 7th hardest hitting epic skill in the game for a damage dealer, and that is ranked at number 55th. So 55th hardest hitting skill for epic damage dealers in the game. Not bad at all. Looks pretty plain though, doesn't he? Looks pretty plain indeed. Yeah, not the greatest champ to pick up, I don't reckon. What else did he do? Attacks one enemy, 15% chance to place an extra hit, increased crit rate buff, and attacks one enemy. So yeah, not the greatest of champions there, but A3 wallops. Must absolutely wallop. So yeah, that is the guy at number 7. So in 6th position, we are heading back to a champion we've already called out, and that champion is Gala Longbraids. So she is in the top 10 twice. So she smacked. She absolutely smacks. It's her A2, and this is ranked 49th out of all damage dealing skills. So fearless aggression. Attacks one enemy, will ignore 50% of the target's defense when attacking under a shield buff. Heals this champion by 50% of the damage inflicted, then places a shield buff on this champion equal to any surplus heal. So she has got 2 absolute cannons in her kit. Not bad, little dwarf, for damage. Not bad at all. So yeah, she is ranked 49th for her A2 and then 151st for her A3. So 2 skills in the top 10. Yeah, man, must absolutely pack a punch. So she is in 6th position. Next up, we are going on to the Dark Elves, and it is Durandil. So Durandil has an absolute cannon on his A3. So attacks one enemy, will ignore 50% of the target's defense, and places a perfect veil buff on this champion for 2 turns if the hit is critical. And this skill is ranked 37th hardest hitting damage dealing skill in the game. So yeah, he absolutely smacks. Single target damage though, but hits absolutely hard. It's massively hard. So I've never actually built this guy out and used him, to be fair. What else does he get up to? Attacks an enemy 2 times, and he's got an AoE again, which ignores 50% of the target's defense. So might not be a bad early game damage dealer if you picked him up. And he's obviously got the massive cannon on the A3. So yeah, he is in 5th position. 5th position, Durandil. So next up, we have a godlike damage dealing skill, and that is in the champion Whisper Void Epic, and it is her A2. Attacks one enemy, places a 50% increased attack buff and a 30% increased crit rate buff on this champion for 2 turns for attacking if the target has higher max HP than this champion. Will ignore defense if the target is under a weaken, so we'll completely ignore all defense if a weaken debuff is out there. So yeah, I bet she absolutely wallops. So yeah, I've heard a few people go on about Whisper. I've never pulled one myself. Never pulled a Whisper. A1, attacks an enemy, 50% chance to place on a weaken. So she got the weaken on the A1. Then she got attacks one enemy 2 times. Gets an extra turn if the target is under decreased defense and weaken. So yeah, she absolutely smacked. I know a few people use them in like clan boss teams, Hydra teams, etc, etc. I think Saf from HH Gaming loves the champion. I think it's Saf anyway. But yeah, she is in 4th position, and the A2 is rated 35th out of all damage dealing skills. So yeah, hard hitting champ, hard hitting champ. So we are at the top 3. Top 3 incoming. So in 3rd position, we are heading to the Sacred Order, and it is Juliana. Juliana is 3rd in the rankings, and it is this A2. The A2 places a 30% increased crit rate buff on this champion for 2 turns, then attacks one enemy 2 times, placing 5% poison debuff on the target for 3 turns if it's a crit. Will ignore 50% of the target's defense when Romero is on the same team. So she has got the 3rd hardest hitting skill for an epic for damage in the game. I think she isn't too bad, I don't think. What else should she bring? She got attacks one enemy 2 times, turn meter feel a little bit, and then she's got removes all buffs from the targets, and she's got a burn on the A3. So she's got a burn and poison in her kit as well. So she's not a horrendous champion. I don't know how much you'll be using her in the end game, but she's 3rd hardest hitting skill for epic for damage, and her skill is ranked 33rd out of all damage dealing skills. So yeah, it's fairly hard. It's fairly hard for an epic. Next up, we are off to the Barbarians, and it is Alika. So Alika's A2 is ranked 29th for damage dealing skills in the game. So attacks an enemy will ignore 50% of the target's defense if their max HP is higher than this champion's. So when she's fully ascended, fully empowered, fully booked, she absolutely smacks on the A2. Absolutely smacks. What else does she bring? What else does she bring? Attacks one enemy, has a 30% chance to place an extra hit. This hit is always critical. And she got an AoE on the A3 and then 75% chance of increasing the cooldown of an enemy skills by 2 turns. So yeah, she's not a bad little champion to be fair. And she absolutely hammers on the A2. So yeah, 29th out of all damage dealing skills, this barbarian Alika hits hard, hits really hard, right up there with the best. So in top place goes to, and again it is another Sacred Order champion, and it is Inquisitor Shamael. Inquisitor Shamael has got the hardest hitting skill for an epic in the game, and he's great for Hydra. Great for Hydra. And it is his A2. Attacks one enemy 3 times. We ignore 25% of the target's defense. We ignore a further 25% of the target's defense for each buff on this champion. He then places a True Fear debuff on all enemies for 1 turn if this attack kills an enemy. So he ignores 25% of the target's defense, then a further 25% of the target's defense for each buff on this champion. So could he just wipe out all their defense? Absolutely smack. Void epic. Yeah, great for Hydra. Great for Hydra. Great little champion. So he is in top spot. And this skill, the A2, is ranked 8 out of all damage dealing skills for late to end game content. So yeah, he is right up there with the best. It's worth building out. Some of these champions are actually worth building out. Unlike when we done the rares and most of them were utter trash, a lot of these you could actually build out and use, to be fair. So yeah, decent champion. Decent little champion. So let's give out some honorable mentions. Who have we got? We have got Fennec, and it is Fennec's A3. His A3 packs an absolute smack. So the A3, so feebleness. Attacks one enemy, has a 60% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense and a 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns. And he just missed out on the top 10. Then we are off to the Ogre and Tribes for the Void Epic Skrank. And Skrank's A2, this skill here, Sup on Blood. Attacks one enemy 2 times, heals his champion by 15% in their max HP on each crit hit. Places a 15% increased attack buff on this champion if the target is under a burn. He's got a burn on his A3. He just missed out on the top 10 also. Smacks pretty hard for an epic. Smacks pretty hard indeed. Next up, we are in the Skinwalkers and Scabarus. His A3 also hits really hard. Attacks an enemy, 75% chance of placing 25% weaken. He's also got a 50% increase attack if the weaken debuff is placed. Yeah, he just missed out on the top 10 also. Scabarus, hard hitting Skinwalker epic champion. We're also back at the Barbarians, and Aina also packs a wallop, and actually it was her A2 and her A3 what both hit really hard. They were literally ranked 1 place apart from each other, both these skills. So yeah, another hard hitting Barbarian in the mix there. Just missed out on the top 10. And then finally, the last champion we'll give an honorable mention to is Quivergrass. Her A3 packs a punch, attacks an enemy, damage increases by 30% if this champion has no active debuffs. Will also ignore unkillable if this champion has no active debuff. So yeah, Quivergrass A3 packs a punch for an epic. She also just missed out on the top 10. There's a bit of a mix this time around. There's a few single target damage dealers and a few AoEs in there. Some good champions to build out if you've got any of these for damage. So yeah, that is our top 10 list for the hardest hitting epic damage dealers in the game. So we gave you the top 10 and then a few extra honorable mentions there at the end. So yeah, it's a bit better than the old rares. The rares were pretty shocking champions. Some of them are pretty good little champions you can use. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. It was a good little bit of fun, and I will catch you in the next one.